As we talked about earlier, sarcomas in general make up only 1% of cancers. It's estimated that clear cell sarcoma in particular only makes up 1% of sarcoma. So we're talking about 0.01% of all cancers are clear cell sarcoma. That makes a very difficult situation for moving the field forward, because one thing we know about sarcomas is that while there are some features that they share between them, and there are some, especially philosophical things about sarcoma that we have certainly learned things about other sarcomas by studying a different sarcoma. At the end of the day, sarcoma is really about 100 different diseases, and every one has a particular biology, and probably every one is going to have something specific in terms of its treatments, ultimately. Understanding those specifics is very difficult for a cancer as rare as clear cell sarcoma. If you're talking about 0.01% of all cancers, it means that in no center are you treating dozens of these patients every year. It just doesn't happen. No center is big enough, at least in the developed world. There are a few places in the world that might see a dozen clear cell sarcomas in a year if they have the catchment of 1 billion people or something. But in the United States, in the developed Western world, no center sees a dozen patients in a year. I mean, most centers will see, even if they're a big sarcoma center, they might see a handful of cases, one case, or one case every few years. We are a relatively big sarcoma center here at the University of Utah and the Huntsman Cancer Institute, and we see a clear cell sarcoma about every other year on average. I mean, these are very rare tumors. That means it's very difficult to do the first step of any scientific investigation into a cancer, which is to make observations. So we begin any investigation into any biology by making observations, and then we can glean from those observations hypotheses or guesses as to how the biology is working, and then we can test that in a new population of cases.